For more than 600 years, the Ottoman Empire ruled vast lands across Europe, Africa, and Asia. Many believe it collapsed because of wars or weak rulers, but the real killer was something quieter and far more dangerous: money. At its peak in the 1500s, the empire was rich and powerful. It controlled major trade routes and earned wealth through taxes, commerce, and conquest. As long as this financial balance existed, the empire remained strong. The first major mistake began with taxation. Corrupt officials squeezed farmers harder while keeping money for themselves. Peasants were forced to pay high taxes even during bad harvests, pushing them into poverty and forcing many to abandon their land. Food production fell. Government income shrank. Instead of fixing the system, the state raised taxes even more. This created a deadly cycle where people produced less, and the government earned less. Then, inflation struck. Massive amounts of silver entered global markets, causing prices to rise across the empire. Food and basic goods became expensive, but wages stayed the same, and public anger grew. To cope, the government reduced the silver content in its coins. Money became weaker. Trust in currency collapsed. Merchants raised prices, soldiers demanded higher pay, and the state minted more money, which only made inflation worse. At the same time, war became more expensive. Modern weapons and large standing armies required steady funding. But the outdated tax system could not keep up. The empire turned to borrowing. This was a turning point. Loans came with interest. Interest demanded more revenue. Higher taxes led to more borrowing. The empire entered a debt trap it could not escape. Trade soon followed the same path. European powers discovered sea routes that bypassed Ottoman lands. Trade income collapsed as centuries-old land routes lost their value. Instead of adapting, the empire signed trade agreements that favored foreign merchants. Cheap European goods flooded local markets. Ottoman craftsmen could not compete. Local industries collapsed, and money flowed out of the empire. Corruption spread deeper. Government positions were sold. Public funds disappeared. Justice became something people paid for. Trust in the state slowly vanished. Revolts became common. The government spent even more money crushing unrest, creating more debt and instability. By the 1800s, foreign banks controlled Ottoman debt. European powers dictated financial policy. Tax revenue went to creditors instead of citizens. The empire still existed on maps, but financially it was no longer independent. Late reforms came too late. Railways, schools, and institutions were built using foreign loans. Every solution increased dependence instead of strength. When World War I arrived, the empire was already bankrupt. Inflation exploded, food shortages spread. When the war ended, there was nothing left to save. The Ottoman Empire did not fall because of one battle. It collapsed after centuries of poor financial decisions. Because when a state taxes unfairly, prints money carelessly, borrows endlessly, ignores trade change, and allows corruption to grow, collapse becomes inevitable. Empires rarely die by the sword. They die quietly through financial failure. If you enjoy documentary-style stories that explain history through money, power, and hidden decisions, subscribe to the channel and stay curious.